The Diddy situation is getting so much worse.
Sean Diddy Combs has spent a week behind bars.
Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges in May.
New surveillance video shows Combs being taken into custody in a Manhattan hotel.
Diddy is now at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a place that's been described as hell on earth.
Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male sex workers across state lines.
I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Donuts, today we're going to be covering one of the darkest cases that I've ever seen. It's the P Diddy situation. In this video, we're going to cover what Diddy is actually being charged with, the leaked videos he didn't want you to see, his former partners exposing him, the 100 of allegations made against him, his freak-off parties, which let me tell you are extremely disturbing, the conspiracies about how he used huge public figures against their will, and how they tried to tell us about it but we weren't listening, his response to everything, which is absolutely wild, and what the current update as of today on the situation is. So get comfy. So who is Diddy? So Diddy is known for being one of the biggest American artists slash producer slash exec. He goes by a few names, which you might know him. You might know him from one of these names that he goes by: Sean John Combs, Diddy, P Diddy, Puffy, Puff Daddy, and apparently Brother Love, which I've never heard anybody call him. Hey Grayson, can you stick that new Brother Love on, buddy? If anybody did call Diddy by Brother Love, you're not going to call him by that by the end of this video after the information I'm about to tell you. There's no love with this brother. So what is Diddy actually being charged with? Now in this video, like, there's so much to cover, so I want to cover it in like a timeline as the events happened. So a lot of the media coverage started on the 16th of November 2023 when Cassie, one of Diddy's former girlfriends, came out with a lawsuit against him. Now there's a lot in this lawsuit, but some of the main points she's suing him are for manipulative and coercive romantic and sexual relationship. Also a lot of abuse, like physical abuse of Cassie. It's said that Diddy would regularly beat and kick Miss Ventura, leaving black eyes, bruises and blood. So, you know, not the healthiest of relationships. She also exposed the freak-off parties, which we're going to get into later in this video. The lawsuit also talks about how Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car because apparently he was talking to Cassie, which, by the way, my dog is named after Kid Cudi. So when you go for Kid Cudi, you come for me, okay? None of that. Also, like, who has the power to just do that? You know, if, like, you're speaking to someone and then another guy is speaking to the person that you want to speak to, how do you have the power to just blow up their car? That's mental. Since this lawsuit got released, people kind of unearthed footage of the two together, and it just seems like a really weird dynamic.
Is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
Keep everything right here. Or right here.
Yeah. Look at his face. He was like, don't say a single word. Confession, she's okay. She doesn't need to speak, thank you very much. Put the camera on me. Brother Love over here. Oh, like, he was panicking there. And, like, looking back, you can just tell straight away, like, the look on his face. So the day after this lawsuit got filed, it actually got settled straight away. It's reported that Diddy paid Cassie $30 million to just throw the case out the window, which is crazy. Like, from an outside perspective, that just seems kind of weird that he's paid that amount of money. Like, what was in that lawsuit? That just screams guilty to me. Like, $30 million you're gonna pay her. Not even contest it. And just moving forward a little bit, on the 17th of May 2024, CCTV footage got released of Diddy actually abusing Cassie. This was in the hallway of an LA hotel room. Now, I can't show all of this footage because YouTube is actually blocking it, so I'm just going to react to it, but it's honestly awful. So as we can see here, Cassie is walking down the lobby of the hotel. She's going to the lift where she's probably leaving, and Diddy is running after her in his towel. Nothing else on, just towel and sliders. And as she's waiting for the lift, Diddy just grabs her neck and puts her on the floor and starts kicking her on the floor. Like, this video is horrific. Like, when she's not moving, he still kicks her and he's dragging her back to the hotel room. It's horrific. Like, this is totally unprovoked. She wasn't going for him at all. And you can see her shouting at him back. And he takes the bag back off her. I'm not too sure what was in the bag. that he wanted so much, but she's clearly trying to leave and Diddy's not letting her. Like, that is one of the most horrific things that I've seen. Like, if that was a Netflix documentary, that would still be shocking, but it's the fact that this is actually real. Now, obviously, this footage wasn't public at the time of the lawsuit, but I would have liked to have seen how the lawsuit would have went if this footage was public, because I believe Cassie would have got a lot more money to settle, because obviously Diddy wouldn't have known that this CCTV footage actually existed. Now, after this footage got released, this was the first time we actually seen Diddy apologise in public.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think you were disgusted when you did it. Like, she was literally on the floor, not moving, and you still went back for more. I don't think you were disgusted at all. It's like you wanted that to happen. Also, this just seems like it's off a script. I know I'm being, like, heavily critical here, but there's just no emotion in this. He doesn't look sorry at all. It looks like something that he's been told he has to do.
I'm so sorry. I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Like, why is he saying sorry to us? Like, you don't need to say sorry to me. Like, you didn't do it to me. Like, this has no impact on my life. The person you should be apologising publicly to is Cassie. Like, this wasn't really directed at her. From what I've seen, I haven't saw her name mentioned. Maybe he did, but from the clips I've seen, I haven't seen it directed towards her. So I don't know if this was just to save his skin, or if he knew a court case was coming on later down the line, that this would kind of show that he was sorry at the time of it happening. Because these people are very clever. Like, they strategize and they will know how things are going to play out. Now, not that you need further confirmation that Diddy is quite abusive to women. However, his bodyguard, his ex-bodyguard, actually came out and confirmed that Diddy would treat women like this.
I seen him inside the car, grab her up. I seen him smack her. And one thing about Kim is Kim got to the point where she fought back because she realized how powerful she was.
Do you know how crazy that statement is? That has just been, like, brushed over. Like, she got to the point where she fought back. Like, all of the stuff she's had to deal with, like, the fact that he said she got to a point where she couldn't take it anymore. Like, this isn't just a one-off thing. Like, when he says that he was disturbed by his behaviour, clearly he does this all the time. So are you constantly disturbed, but you do it anyway? It is interesting because there's another case going on right now in the influencer world. When creators, when influencers, when celebrities get to a certain status, it seems like they feel like they're untouchable towards women. Like, the way they treat women, whether they've always treated them like that, or whether it's when they get to a certain status that they believe that they, you know, no matter what they do, they can't be harmed. It's a really interesting kind of pipeline, how a lot of people get to that point where they kind of just treat people not even like humans.
I just seen the car rocking back and forth. Of course, he put everybody out the car, but I seen the car shaking, so I opened the door.
Do you know how hard you have to be, like, fighting for the car to rock? Like, what is this? Imagine you're just in Asda car park and you see a car rocking. There's two thoughts. Either they're having a great time or they're having a terrible time. Like, what? It's actually mental that the car was rocking. Now, going back to December 2023, this is a month after Cassie filed her lawsuit. A lot more people actually came out against Diddy with their own accusations and lawsuits. It says here that one lawsuit was filed anonymously by a woman who claimed Mr. Combs and another man had coerced her into sex. A second lawsuit said that Diddy actually drugged and sexually assaulted her when she was a college student in 1991. She also claimed he filmed the attack and showed it to other people without her consent. Like, that is so specific. You just wouldn't make something like that up. Like, why would you say, look, it's actually on camera if it wasn't? Because if you were making it up, then you wouldn't, like, try and prove that it was on camera because you would know that it wasn't. Liza filed court papers accusing Mr. Combs and another man of raping her and her friend more than 30 years ago when she was 16. So now, not only do we know that Diddy is, you know, like a horrible person towards women, but it's starting to get into territory with, you know, underage people. So a lot of accusations like this were getting thrown towards Diddy. Clearly, these women felt confident enough after Cassie came forward that they could come forward with their own story. And Diddy, also known as Brother Love, I want to make sure that you remember that, denied all the accusations, and his spokesperson called the lawsuits a money grab, which is like, that is the traditional thing that every single person says when someone they like makes a claim against them. Oh, they want the fame, they want the money. I doubt it. You know, these are real people with real stories that has definitely had an impact on how they've lived the rest of their life. I doubt this is just a money grab. Yeah, some people might come forward and want money, but for the things that they've had done to them, if it's true, I think they deserve it. And that doesn't even paper over a tiny bit of the crack of what the lasting impact you've done on those women is. Now, moving on a month, December 2023 wasn't the best for Diddy either. This was the first time that an underage claim had been made against him. Now, this one is very graphic, but basically she's saying that she was trafficked and multiple people would take advantage of her. And this included the president of Bad Boy Records, which was the record that Diddy was a part of. So these are men that are in power. Jane Doe, who was the woman who came forward with this accusation, said she was given copious amounts of drugs and alcohol before the attack and was left in so much pain that she could barely stand or remember how she got home. Bearing in mind, like, no woman should ever have to go through this, but this isn't even a woman. This is a girl. This is a girl who was 17 years old. Diddy again rebutted these claims and said that he had no part of it. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. And the former president of Bad Boy Records, who was apparently involved in this, also said, these are disgusting allegations and are false in a desperate attempt for financial gain. So again, they've clearly got this response, this story that they're sticking to. No matter what people say about us, just say, oh, they want our money. That's all they want. They want the money. But you're going to find later on in this video that that reply doesn't work for much longer. Now, a lot of these responses from Diddy and people that were apparently involved in these lawsuits, all of the responses have came through kind of legal representation. Like, we haven't really seen much response from Diddy apart from that video he did after the Cassie video dropped. However, he did actually reply himself on his own Instagram story after these lawsuits were filed against him. Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. I don't really think that's their main aim with, you know, what they're coming forward with, but sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. Sean Diddy Combs. I really wish that he signed that off as brother love. That would have really put the final nail in the coffin. Now, if Diddy is innocent, this obviously would be a horrific thing that he has to go through, like all of these people trying to tear his life apart. However, the amount of allegations I'm about to cover in this video, I just can't see this being good for him. I just can't see him being innocent. I love that he's done the traditional, like, apology thing, like a black Instagram story with white text. He's copied a couple of influencers. He knows his stuff, Diddy does. Now, this was in December, and moving on into January in the new year, Diddy actually had kind of a quiet start of the new year. Nothing really came against him in January, any new claims. However, February started off with a bang for him. A fresh accusation was made against Diddy by his former producer, Rodney Jones Jr., who actually, I think he produced 9 songs on Diddy's album, The Love Album, obviously called The Love Album because he's called Brother Love. I need to tell you that again, just in case you missed it. So this is a guy that clearly, you know, has been very close to Diddy, worked alongside him for months, if not years. He claims that Diddy tried to coerce him into having sexual relations with another man, and when he confronted Diddy about it, Diddy responded, "This is a normal practice in the music industry." Is it? Really? Oh, what? You want to produce this banger? You've got a shag birdie. I don't think that's normal. And if it is normal, wow. Wow. Can you imagine that though? Like, you know, you've worked your entire life to get to a position where you're with an artist like Diddy, who is like on a pedestal, you believe he's so great, and then you produce 9 songs for him, and then he tells you if you actually want to produce some more songs, you've got to shag his mate. That is horrific. Like, genuinely horrific. Now, Diddy's lawyer actually rebuted these claims again. He's nothing more than a liar, and calls it pure fiction, and it could be discredited by overwhelming, indisputable proof. Whatever that means. Like, I don't have a clue how you could disprove that with indisputable proof. But hey ho. Now at this point, the authorities started to get involved, and Diddy's house was actually raided. You can see pictures here, like they closed off the entire neighborhood. There's like so many police there. Like, look how big that home is. You could get lost in there.
Several people were escorted outside Diddy's LA home and detained. 2 appeared to be the rapper's sons, Justin and Christian King Combs.
Oh my lord. Like, imagine getting your sons involved in this, man. Leave the sons out of it at least. So obviously for the authorities to raid his house, they clearly have enough evidence that they believe they can charge him with. Like, the amount of police that are there, something serious has came across their table. Now at this point, it's just like a snowball for Diddy. Like, this is just building up more and more traction. More and more people are coming forward. A former model came forward and is suing Diddy for apparently drugging her and then coercing her into doing stuff with him. At this point, 8 lawsuits have been filed with the authorities. Like, that's an actual lawsuit, not an accusation. And still, Diddy's lawyer came out and said that Diddy is innocent on all of these accounts. You know, if one person came forward after the Cassie thing, you know, you could kind of rebuke the claims, etc. I feel like Diddy would have more of a leg to stand on. But the more and more this situation goes on, and the more and more people that are coming forward, this just makes it look so bad for him. You can't use the excuse that this many people want money. Now, by September time, Diddy was actually ordered to attend a virtual court hearing for one of the lawsuits where he was accused of drugging someone and coercing them into doing stuff with him. And Diddy actually didn't show up to this. Like, how can you not show up to a virtual court hearing? It's you can literally just be in your house. Which shows to me that he clearly didn't take this lawsuit very seriously, or he didn't realise like how serious this implication could have on him. And he was actually ordered to pay the person filing this lawsuit $100 million. 100 million. What did you do to that person to have to pay them $100 million? That's insane. Now, this was ordered on the 10th of September 2024, and it hasn't been paid out yet as the lawyers have made an appeal against it, so it's kind of just put on the back burners for now. But Christ, that's a terrible pending transaction to have. I stress out when I've got like £10 in my Monzo account that's pending. Imagine 100 million. Can't corner that payment. Now, arguably the biggest day yet in this entire situation happened on the 16th of September, where Diddy was finally arrested. It's interesting to note that this case has taken place in New York, and Diddy actually moved to New York to help with the case. So he clearly knew that this was coming. Whether he's doing this as like a ploy to be like, look, I just want to help. That's all I want to do. I'll literally move here to make it easier for you guys. I don't know if he's trying to sweeten up the court or if he actually is just wanting to sort this because he's actually innocent. I mean, I think we all know which one it is. And this is where all of the charges have been revealed and all of the weird stuff that Diddy apparently is accused of. And this is where the video just goes, ugh. If you thought this video was already dark, just wait for what I'm about to tell you. So Diddy appeared at the US District Court, and these are the charges that he's been charged with. Racketeering conspiracy, which is basically like doing illegitimate business dealings, like, you know, kind of doing like illegal stuff, making money in illegal ways without claiming it to the tax people or just to the law. Apparently the businesses that he was participating in is sex trafficking by force as opposed to sex trafficking willingly, and fraud and coercion. So I imagine, you know, if the sex trafficking things are actually legit, that would be like the dealings and the money and the transactions, all of that would count as racketeering. He's also getting charged with the sex trafficking because that's like a charge on its own. Transportation to engage in prostitution, which obviously is absolutely horrific. It's been kind of said that this guy had like a huge illegitimate business empire in the shadows that nobody knew about. Now, one of the interesting things that came out of this court case is the topic of the freak-off. If you're wondering what a freak-off is, this is basically like a Diddy party, but after hours. So Diddy often would have parties, and then when it would go into like 1 AM, that would then take a turn into the freak-off. A little bit like you'd only go to an afters, but nothing like that really. You haven't got somebody at 4 AM telling you about how their whole life's going down the drain and they want to change the world. Instead, you've got a little bit of, you know, prostitution, a little bit of coercion, a little bit of fraud over there. Now I'm going to read some of the details that have been released about these freak-offs, and just a disclaimer, like, these are pretty horrific, so just prepare yourself. He would allegedly induce female victims and male sex workers into drug-fueled sexual performances dubbed freak-offs, according to the document. They were described as elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs had arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. Like, the more I read that paragraph, the worse it got. What do you mean he directed them? Like some sort of like Michael Bay performance? This genuinely is one of the most horrific things I've ever read. Like, can you imagine one of those people that has been, you know, coerced into doing this against their will. Like, imagine how those people are feeling right now with this entire case finally getting released. Like, that burden those people have had to carry for so long, it's not going to solve, like, how they're feeling inside, but it is just going to offer some comfort knowing that people who committed these crimes are getting held accountable. The prosecutors alleged that victims were given controlled substances during the sometimes days-long events to keep them obedient and compliant, and Combs subjected them to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse. I've just watched a movie, I don't know if you've seen it, it's called Blink Twice. This entire situation seems like that movie. The people are going to this island where they're getting coerced into doing these sexual favours and they don't realise they're doing them. This is happening, but in real life. It's said that Combs and his victims were so exhausted after the sessions, which sometimes lasted days at a time, that they typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. Oh, don't worry, guys. Right, we've got an IV drip. There's a massage therapist coming in. Have yourself a Red Bull. You'll be fine. Don't worry. 4th day down. 3 to go. What? When I've been kind of trying to, you know, kind of get into the mind of somebody that would do this sort of thing, it's so difficult to understand why. I don't know if Diddy has just had power for so long and it's spiraled and he's just totally forgot who he is as a person, and he's just so mad with power that he gets off to making people do that. Honestly, it's so hard to wrap your head around. If this was in a movie, you'd be like, oh, that wouldn't exist though, would it? Now, one thing people have been taking the piss out of is the next thing I'm going to tell you. Around 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant were seized from Combs' homes in Miami and Los Angeles when they were raided in March. 1,000? What do you need 1,000 bottles of baby oil for? I don't think there's anything. Well, clearly something, but surely, you know, when you're ordering that much in bulk, surely the person processing that order's got to be like, you know what, I feel like we need to check this out. Where's this going to? Somebody knock on the door, just see if they're alright. Check the skin. Is it oily? Just check. I can't wrap my head around why you would need 1,000 bottles of baby oil. It's like he's trying to price lock it. You know, in FIFA, Ultimate Team, people are like, buy one player and then raise the price of them. That's what Diddy's trying to do, but with baby oil. He really is evil. He wants dry babies everywhere. I've just got this vision of people in Miami and Los Angeles just like going to like the local Walmart store to buy some baby oil, and the shelves are just completely empty, and they're like, ah, well, Diddy's clearly been. He got here at 8 AM. It's my fault. Should have come earlier. It's also claimed by the prosecutors that Mr. Combs taped the freak-offs and would use the footage to pressure his victims into silence. Now, as somebody that has been through, you know, a situation where I know how someone would feel in that situation when you know, somebody has footage of you and they're trying to blackmail you in a certain way to do what they want to do. That feeling never leaves you. Ever. That has a lasting impact, and the fact that he probably used that footage to make them come back and do more stuff, or like it says in this article, to just silence them, is horrific. Now, obviously, the claims made about these freak-offs are so specific, and a lot of them are so niche, that it's almost harder to make this up than it would be to just tell the truth. Just quickly, if you haven't already, please do consider pressing the subscribe button. Over 60% of the people watching this video probably aren't subscribed. If you do subscribe, you'll join the best community on the internet, the Donuts. This is our little corner of the internet where we do videos like this. And also, while you're here, you might as well drop a like on the video. Let's get back to it. Now, Diddy has actually talked publicly about these freak-offs that he would hold on late night television, like in front of the whole nation.
You need the ladies, you need the booze, you need some water. If you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave. Right. Gotta keep them there. Right. You need locks on the doors.
Sorry, if I go to a afters and there's locks on the doors, I'm leaving straight away. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just getting out of there. I'm like, why is there locks on every single door? There's no need, really. Like, what's going on in this house where we would need locks? That's not just for, like, catching someone in the act. Like, you know, I've done that before. You know, you're at a house party, you walk into a room, people are doing stuff, you're like, whoa! Like, that's fine, you just walk out. You don't need a lock on the door.
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning. No. Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, like, you know, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
I'd argue that, you know, being too hot, that makes me really, really uncomfortable and anything but loose. I'm just stressed. Now this is actually going to come back to bite Diddy, because a lot of people who went to these parties claimed that he would turn the heating up so people would look more sweaty and apparently would look more like sexy and attractive to him. It's not to keep the alcohol at the right temperature. Like is that not the most like bullshit that you've ever heard in your life? Like what do you mean? Like, oh, can we turn the heating on? The vodka's getting cold. Like what? I don't, that just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, mate, you don't mind putting me Glen's vodka next to that radiator, do you? I just want it at the perfect temperature. Said no one ever. To be fair, it's probably like Ciroc or something at his parties. Now, this is the perfect example of kind of hiding in plain sight. Like, he started this clip off by saying, oh yeah, I've got to get water, I've got to look after the ladies. So to kind of show that, look, I just want people to have a good time. But he couldn't kind of help himself by saying some of the freaky stuff. And now that he said that publicly, if it comes up again, it doesn't seem as bad because, oh, you've already heard it from his mouth. Again, like when I said earlier in this video, these people aren't stupid. I know that sounds stupid because he is stupid for what he's done, but they're not daft. They're very manipulative. They know how to plan this kind of stuff. Now, I've scoured the internet to try and find footage from the freak-off part of these parties. Now, I can't 100% say that these are pictures from the freak-off parts. However, I have found some footage, apparently, from these parties. This is apparently a photo from it. If this is true, what is going on here? Sorry? Like, is she in a large condom? Just trying to stay protected. To be honest, if I was at a Diddy party, I'd probably try and hide in something like that. But like, that looks air sealed. That looks very strange. Also, it was claimed that at these parties, everybody would be wearing white. Like, it was very notorious. Diddy parties were like white parties. And everyone here is wearing white, which kind of backs up the claim that this could be from a Diddy freak-off. But this is just so creepy. Like, how did you get into this situation, love? Is someone going to check on her? Like, there's a photo being took here, and I don't want to like overanalyze this photo, but why is this person turned away? Why is this person out of shot? Like, clearly people don't want to be in this photo, apart from this guy who, you know, if you saw him in a back alley, you'd probably start stressing a little bit. Don't trust anyone with a mohawk and a goatee. That's what I've learned over the years, guys. There's also this one where Kevin Hart, for some reason, is like presenting the freak off.
No, this was here. We had Trick or Treat on the scene. Honestly,
like there's a woman naked in the bath and she doesn't look too pleased, and they're like wiping her down with a towel, and there's candles. Like, what kind of a party is this? Sorry, who just goes in the bath at a party just publicly and lights candles with the door open?
What we're doing is unbelievable up here.
I think that's Trey Songz in the background. Like, I don't want to, you know, infer the wrong thing here, but there's just so many candles. This looks like some sort of ritual. It's like so strange. But they've got the big light on. Sorry, who lights candles and puts the big light on? That is not the right vibes if you want to chill.
Girl, sit your ass in the tub. It's for the shot. Put a hair in or not, if you can. Just for safety. We had a fire. We had a fire here.
Okay, so, don't know about you. That doesn't look like a party that I want to go to. Very, very strange. And obviously Kevin Hart has been coming under a lot of pressure because he's clearly, like, video evidence that he was at one of these parties, and not only at it, for some reason presented the party. People have said that Diddy, like, got Kevin Hart to do this so he was on camera, like, proof that he was at one of these parties to kind of use as blackmail against him, possibly, which he did to a lot of people, apparently. Now, a news outlet did actually find Kevin Hart after, like, all of this footage kind of got released, and this was Kevin's response to it.
Yeah. Nah. You asked the wrong person the wrong question. That's your question. Do you think he's safe in jail? Wrong person the wrong question.
Like, you're asking the wrong person the wrong question. I don't know if that's like a threat, like, mate, back off, you ask, like, don't do this. Or it's like, oh, well, why don't you just ask Diddy? But then I don't believe it's that, because literally there's video evidence of you being there. We want to know why you were there. Very strange. Also, there was this interview at the start of the year from a comedian called Cat Williams, who also called out Kevin Hart for kind of being like an industry plant and kind of placed by higher powers into the position that he was in. I don't want to get too much off topic, but I feel like Kevin Hart, most stuff might come out about him. Now, since this court case has been going on, Diddy has applied for bail 3 times and been rejected 3 times. His lawyers even offered the system $50 million for him to be freed on bail and placed under like a house arrest in his house in Florida. However, the prosecutor actually said to the judge that, like, don't release this man. This man is a danger to society. He could get in contact with victims. He could blackmail them. Like, we need to keep this man where we can basically see him, because he can influence this case if he's let out on bail. And therefore, this is the reason that the judge eventually denied his bail 3 times. It seems like they've got him now. It seems feels like there's no more wiggle room for him to kind of just maneuver himself out of this. And since then, he's apparently been held in jail, and apparently he's on hunger strike because he's so nervous that someone's either going to poison him or worse. Like, this man must be so paranoid right now. Obviously, we know what's happened with other people that have been involved with stuff like this, like the Jeffrey Epstein thing. A lot of people are going to be vulnerable now that Diddy is in custody, because if he kind of whistleblows on everyone, the whole system could kind of fall here, which is why this case is so interesting, because I believe you're only really scratching the surface getting Diddy. Now, one of the strangest parts about this court case is actually Diddy's lawyer. Like, this guy is absolutely mental. His vibe is so weird. I just need to show you.
Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He's not afraid of the charges. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything.
I'm sorry. Okay, fair play, he's not afraid. I would be. If I'm in court and I have not done any of the things that are being listed against me and I can go to jail for all these things, I'm going to be shitting myself. I'm like, how's this come about? I haven't done any of these things. 1,000 bottles of baby oil? Surely this would be a surprise to him if he really hasn't done these things, surely.
He's been looking forward to this day. He's been looking forward to clearing his name.
He's been looking forward to this day. Has he? What, has he like had it blocked out in his calendar? Oh, wait, can't wait for that day. Huh? It's like a mini holiday. Can't wait. Gonna have a little mini retirement in New York at the court. Can't wait to discuss the 1,000 bottles of baby oil with people I don't know. Like, what? What do you mean he's looking forward to it?
Call them freak-offs. But, you know, back when I was a kid in the late 70s, they were called threesomes.
What? That's your defense? Freak-offs? Right, people call them freak-off, threesome. They're the same thing. You drug people and give them IV drips. That's just a threesome. Well, you've never done that. Huh. You're the idiot. You've never lived. I worry for Diddy if this is how they're going to respond in court to these accusations.
These are genuinely threesomes. How do you explain 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
Good question. Good question. That is 333 bottles each, which, I don't know about you, but when I use baby oil, I don't even get through a quarter of a bottle. Never mind 333 of them. Christ! More oil than Saudi Arabia. Oh, where?
One bottle of baby oil goes a long way. I don't know what you need 1,000 for.
Yeah, that's what we're asking you for. You're meant to, like, rebut these claims. You're meant to tell us why he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Why there actually was 1,000. Like, that's confirmed now. This man is, like, crumbling under the pressure of a reporter. What's going to happen when there's, like, another lawyer in court? Now, one of the things that this guy keeps rebuting the 1,000 bottles of baby oil with is that Diddy likes to buy in bulk. He said this on so many occasions. It's clearly like a narrative he's trying to drive to us.
He has a big house. He buys in bulk. I mean, have you sat in a parking lot of a Costco and see what people walk out of there with?
Not 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000.
To be fair, every single time I'm in little car park, I'm like, wow, how many bottles of baby oil do they sell? Like, he's got 1,000, he's got 1,000. Wow. I'm missing out. What? What do you mean he likes to buy in bulk? Bulk's like 12. Okay, I'd say that's a large number. 1,000? 1,000 bottles is not bulk, my friend. That's ridiculous. Leave some for everyone else. Jesus. You might as well invest in their stocks at that point. Also, it just makes us think, like, you know, all this recycling we're doing to try and save the planet. Like, the amount of plastic this man has in his house, he's probably just thrown away. Like, he keeps driving this narrative of that Diddy likes to buy in bulk.
How do you explain the baby oil and the lubricants? 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was a lot. I mean, there's a Costco right down the street. You know, I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know.
Why is he playing this off as if, like, this is a normal thing that the everyday person does? Like, I've never bought anything in bulk to like 1,000 quantity, have I? I don't think there's anything that I would buy 1,000 of at once. That's crazy. He's acting as if people just do this on their weekly shop.
We can't get so puritanical in this country to think that somehow sex is a bad thing, because if it was, there'd be no more people.
What? We're not saying that sex is a bad thing. Nobody is saying that. People are saying having sex with people against their will, drugging them, trafficking them. That bit, that's not really for us. If we're honest, I'm losing my mind. That part, that's where we kind of draw the line, if I'm honest. If no more people come in the world because of that, I think we're all cool with that, right? We only want consensual babies in this world. Now, as of recording this video, I'm in the month of October, and just recently, 100 new allegations have been made against Diddy. There's a lawyer who is called Tony Busby, and he basically has been gathering people that Diddy has kind of wronged, and he's put them all into one kind of lawsuit. And he's came to the public with this information on behalf of all of the people that probably don't want, you know, the attention from it. They just want to get their story heard.
The claims we intend to bring will include the following: violent sexual assault or sexual abuse, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, false imprisonment, compelling prostitution, sexual misconduct, dissemination of video recordings, false imprisonment, sexual abuse of minors.
Well, that's not the greatest pick of mix. So obviously a lot of those we've already heard, but it adds so much weight when 100 people have come forward about this. Again, can this many people be lying about this when they all have their own individual stories and different things have happened in all of these stories, but they all point to the same thing? Now, I've scoured the internet for like old Diddy interviews to just see like his vibe, like to the public, to see if you can kind of say anything now knowing all of this information.
I saw a guy on the internet the other day who said he used to be your security guard, who said that when you were dating J-Lo, Will Smith and Jada tried to pick her up on a threesome and you were going to beat up Will Smith. Is that true?
Yo, this show has gotten crazier since the last time I recruited.
Did you see the look on his face there? It's almost as if pure anger and rage took over his body, and then like he kind of flipped into like performative to like make a joke out of it. Watch this switch. Fair play to Jimmy Kimmel for saying this like publicly, because I've never seen people kind of criticize him for this.
Up on a threesome and you were going to beat up Will Smith. Is that true?
Look at his eyes. Look at them, and then watch him switch.
Yo, this show has gotten crazier.
It's like he goes. It's like he wakes up. It's like he's like, right, I've got to like emergency. Keep the brand up.
I don't know what you're talking about. Jimmy, I thought we was friends. What is this?
So obviously it's very awkward, and I don't know if presenters are like, they feel like they've got a little bit more confidence to confront Diddy publicly about these things. Maybe in the past they felt like Diddy had too much power and like he could tell certain people not to go on their shows. I don't know, but fair play to Jimmy Kimmel for coming out and doing that, because it's what's needed. There's also this old clip of Diddy kind of, it seems like he's intimidating a talk show host.
As the mother of a now 16-year-old.
Who I met backstage, he
did?
He's a great young man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You represent a lot.
It's just awkward. Do you know what I mean? Like, why did that stall her so much? She already had a question. That was just kind of him like reiterating that her son's great. Like, that wouldn't throw you off unless in your head you're kind of like, oh shit, like why? Oh no, like what? You know, is that like, again, I'm inferring it in like a negative way towards Diddy. This could be a harmless clip, but it kind of shows like a power thing. Like, I've met your son. He was great. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Again, that's a bit of a reach from me, I'm going to be honest. But it's just weird how she was so stumped by that.
Night of party, and I don't really remember what I was saying. You know what I'm saying?
Would you like a reminder?
Yeah, sure.
I like when you like this, Daddy.
Where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping.
No. That was you. You said, I like when you do it like that, Daddy. When you scrambling and scraping for.
Nah. I mean, I was
you don't go back and look at that stuff and laugh.
I mean, it could be funny. I don't really be
now,
on it.
If The Breakfast Club, this is the show that he's on here, if they just played that clip without knowing what Diddy was actually like doing behind the scenes, this would be horrific. Like, why would you play this kind of clip? Like, this is a man in his private time. I feel like these guys are in the industry. Surely they know what's going on. They're doing this for a reason, to try and show that to the public that Diddy, these things that people are saying about Diddy could actually be true. Do you know what I'm trying to say here? There's no way they would play that clip without knowing what he's like behind the scenes. Now, I do want to talk about some of the conspiracy theories that people are kind of coming up with, putting two and two together about certain subjects, and I want to reiterate that these aren't fact, these aren't proven, these aren't being taken to court, but it's kind of interesting just to cover them and just to see what you think about them. Now, one of the main conspiracies is around Justin Bieber. Now, Diddy has been involved in Justin's career from him being very, very young. There's interviews of them together.
What we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
We're going crazy.
What you wanna do? What you wanna do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go get some girls.
Man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about, kid.
So, you know, infer from that what you will. Like, Diddy clearly has control over Justin. Like, he's inferring that he's got legal guardianship over him without actually having legal guardianship over him. Kind of saying he had the same with Usher, and, you know, that's a whole different case that we're not even going to cover, the Usher and Diddy stuff. They even had an interview on Jimmy Kimmel together.
The Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Again, it's that weird kind of phrase that he used. Oh, well, you know better than to mention the stuff we do in public. Just a weird statement to say it around like a young person. In the first interview, he was like, we can't disclose what we're doing. Fair enough, you can't disclose what music you're producing, etc. But it's just weird how secretive it is. Do you know what I mean? Again, this is all conspiracy, and this is me just trying to infer and reach a little bit. But they also did this second interview where it was just them two.
You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
Like, why does he look so uncomfortable? Why does Justin look so uncomfortable there? This will be a confident kid. This kid was exposed to fame, new people, etc. Normally he was quite comfy on camera. He looks very uncomfortable here. Very uncomfortable. Like, he's saying you try to get in touch with my people, but like, he's trying to think on the spot, like, an excuse why he didn't want to meet up with them. Again, we don't know why this might be, and it might not be anything serious, but clearly Justin just doesn't feel that comfortable around him. There's a clip of them together at a party.
Here's your icon alert. It's called He's Bad Boy Now.
Now, people are reaching, saying that Justin was going in for a kiss here. I don't know. It's a reach. Like, you can watch it again.
It's called
He does go towards him, but he might just be drunk and just, we don't know. So it's obvious that Justin was like very drunk at these parties. You know, he might have attended these freak off sections when he was very young, or made to be a part of them. There's also a clip where Justin's older, where they both meet, and it seems like Diddy's like touching him, checking if he has a wire, people have said. Like, obviously there's no audio here, but like the way he's patting him down, and Justin doesn't look too pleased. Like, he doesn't. This is clearly a deep thing he's saying to him, a serious thing. He just jumps in the car straight away. Something he didn't want the camera to clearly hear. Also, there's been a lot of conspiracies around Justin Bieber's Yummy music video. Now, when this song got released at the time, the amount of hate it got was unbelievable for like the lyrics, because it was seen as kind of bad. But people have inferred that actually Justin was trying to tell us something in this music video. Like, you see there's kids playing, like kids are made to work overtime. There's also little things like, why is the bread stacked like that, and there's a cherry there, and that could infer, you know, charity virginity, and that later turns to black later on in the music video. So why is the cherry turned to black? Is that like trying to infer that his virginity's ruined? Like, this again, it's so much reaching, but this music video just seems, there's loads, like, everything's done on purpose. It's really strange. There's loads of stuff like the way that the food's brought out. Basically, this entire music video is meant to represent a Diddy party, people have said. And then even after everyone leaves, like, Justin is still sitting there. Like, everyone's came, used him, and then left. For some reason, there's an old man still there. I'm not too sure why. But yeah, people have done full videos kind of breaking down this music video and what it could infer. But I think it's just interesting to just kind of know and just kind of look into. Now, Justin Bieber has actually responded to Diddy getting arrested. Kind of responded. I say a source close to him has said that Justin is in a hard place mentally right now. He has had such a history with Diddy, and the allegations against him have been hard to process. Which is a very blanket statement, but I don't know if Justin Bieber's ever going to come out and kind of either defend Diddy or talk about his experience. I feel like he's probably moved on from this. Obviously, that pain will still be with him if these things are true. But I really like Justin Bieber. I think that man has like gone through a hell of a lot from a young age, and the fact that he's still okay today is like a testament to how strong that man is, because, oh my lord, he was subjected to so much hate. Now, I don't want to get too deep into other kind of things Diddy's accused of, because I want to keep this strictly towards the court case. But there is like side allegations that have been kind of taking place in the background of this Diddy case happening, such as Tupac's family have actually hired a private investigator to establish a link between Tupac's death and Diddy, because they believe that Diddy is the one who actually put the hit out on Tupac. And one thing that I think is so telling on about if Diddy is innocent or guilty is how other people in the industry are kind of responding to him and have been calling him out for years. One person who has been calling out Diddy for years is 50 Cent. Like, 50 Cent absolutely hates Diddy, like despises him.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day?
I'm just not with all that freaky shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal.
Well, that's me playing 21 questions on repeat in the car. Get in! I hope nothing comes out about 50 Cent. Like, 50 Cent has been playing the long game with Diddy. He's been calling him out for years, and now that Netflix have actually announced that they're doing like a P Diddy documentary piece, do you know who the executive producer on this is? 50 Cent. That man has waited so long for this to happen. That is crazy. Now, other huge artists have also kind of inferred stuff about Diddy, such as Eminem said this in a song.
I'm like an R-A-P-E-R, got so many essays. Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P, did he? Yep.
That is unbelievable wordplay. Like, if you didn't catch that, obviously, like, rapper, he's left out a P. P, Diddy, what, if you take out a P out of rapper, what word is that? Bro. What? Eminem might be the second greatest artist of all time, after KSI, obviously.
The day you put out the hits, the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out, they got pop kill,
Right, like, for Eminem to say that publicly in a song is kind of crazy, and he clearly believes it. J. Cole also has kind of called Diddy out in a lyric.
You would have thought my favorite rapper was Puff. Back then I ain't know, now I know too much.
That's like really unironically funny. It's not funny, but it kind of is. I didn't know that much about P Diddy, but now I know too much. I think that's how everyone feels during this. Nobody really knew that much about Diddy. Now we know everything, and now I kind of want to go back to like not knowing about brother love, but I want him to be held accountable, obviously. Now, so many people in the industry who are around these people have clearly went to these Diddy parties. People will know what happens at these Diddy parties. This will be a known thing in that industry, in that field of like the very elite people. Obviously, I can't say 100%, but I would believe that J. Cole, Eminem and 50 Cent would definitely know that P Diddy is either innocent or guilty. And for them to say these things and risk getting sued in their songs, they clearly want to stand on business with it. But yeah, I've tried to cover most of the stuff in this situation, so I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as you could. What's your opinion on brother love? Like, what do you think the next step is going to be? Do you think that he's actually going to get jailed, or do you think he's somehow going to get out of this? Please let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you want more videos like this, because I really enjoy kind of covering subjects like this. And if you want to see me cover another subject that is going on at the moment, click this video right here, because the information in this will blow your socks off.